Fans of big football clubs can be very greedy at times.
Probably not, but that's because I'm a greedy fan and I want it all.
So I interviewed Premier League traditional top 6 fans before and after the transfer window.
Who are your top 3 transfer targets?
To see if their club would match their expectations.
Irons.
Whoa. What is a West Ham fan doing here? Well, turns out all the Chelsea fans are arse pulled out, so Jamie's here to fill the gap. Let's see how it turned out.
Top 3 transfer targets for Tottenham this season would be Achillea,
Oh no.
Ivan Toney,
Oh no.
and if I'm being greedy, Pedro Neto.
My targets have changed because we're linked with Calafiori at the moment. I didn't know much about him, but yeah, he looked good in the Euros. I think now we've got the best defence in the league. I'm not being biased, just saying. So yeah, someone like him. I want someone in midfield as well. I feel like next to Rice and Odegaard, we need... And Adam Wharton would be a dream. Absolute dream, but I don't think we can get him now. And I would like a striker.
Okay, I'll go for 2 realistic and 1 it will just never happen. But the first one, Matthijs de Ligt. Then I would want to get Manuel Ugarte as well. We've been linked with him. And one that's just never going to happen, but I would love it to happen, is Warren Zaire-Emery.
My personal top 3 transfer targets are Calafiori for left centre-back and left-back, Ugarte for centre defensive midfield,
This is rough.
and I'd probably say Mateus Sula for right wing.
Unrealistic. But Bruno G, even though I know there's that whole situation with the release clause, I don't want any less than 100 million. Lamine Yamal.
Wow, okay, so really good.
Listen, you're telling me my targets. You're not saying who I think
no, it's
we're
fair
going to
enough.
get.
That is fair enough.
And third one, maybe Lenny Yoro, the one who United are looking at.
Really liked Barış Yilmaz for Turkey. I really like Kyle Walker-Peters as well at Southampton. Got voted into the Championship right back of the season, and team of the season, I should say. West Ham are screaming out for a number 9, like a striker, someone that we can really get behind. Jonathan David, saw him in the Copa America this year.
Went 0-3.
Yeah.
That was good.
To make it worse as well, Neto was
Pedro
almost
Neto.
through the door and then off to Chelsea all of a sudden.
Yeah, I can't believe they turned down the chance for us to sign him for 40 million Oliver Skip. I think Eze always felt like the one because he always felt super, like kind of like a Spurs player. A bit like when we signed Maddison last summer. Kind of had that feel a bit about it. With Tony, I'm not that disappointed that we didn't get him over the line. I'm really pleased with the signing of Solanke. It's disappointing not to get a couple of those maybe, but I am still relatively happy with the business that we've done.
Until the last 24 hours of the window, I was stressing. I was really stressing because I feel we've got Calafiori done, we've got Marina done, who unfortunately got injured. And I think it was always between a striker and a winger for Arsenal. The fact we've got Raheem Sterling in, we're not paying anything for him. That took the winner from a 4.5 to a 7.5 for me.
Okay, so 2 out of 3, and the other one was super unrealistic.
I did preface everything I said saying that it's completely unrealistic, but that type of profile is still someone that we need. I was over the moon when we signed De Ligt, but more so the fact that under our old structure, where we're being offered 75 million for Brandweight, we would have just taken it, and we probably would have waited too long and then paid too much like we did with Anthony, Casemiro, and the list goes on. We didn't do that this time, and that shows a clear shift in where we want to be.
2 of those have gone to Premier League.
Why have you brought me back, bro?
So obviously Calafiori went to Arsenal not long after we filmed that, and then Ugarte joined Man United on the last day. How does it make you feel?
Yeah, rough. Calafiori one hurts the most because I saw how good he was, and I think he just sorts out that left-hand side of the fence. He gives us cover for left-back and centre-back as well. Ugarte, annoying, but there's other players we could have got there, and yeah, right wing, we have got someone there, so
Yeah, I mean, we've gone for someone else that was in the Serie A. Are you happy with that signing?
I am, yeah. And I've loved Chiesa for years. When we had Mane, I wish we could have signed Chiesa at the same time.
I knew the signings that we already had were like, that was probably more or less where it was going to end. So I was just like, yeah, it would be nice to have Lamine Yamal was never coming. So, but I wouldn't change that. I knew we weren't going to do anything else. I mean, the Gondo thing, it's like murmurings of it, but I didn't know whether Barcelona were going to just let, especially for free.
I think the players that we've probably brought in are upgrades on the names I said there. I'd rather have Aaron Wan-Bissaka over Kyle Walker-Peters. Would probably have Nicholas Füllkrug over Jonathan David, and Barış Yilmaz was an unknown entity that I just had to pick out of nowhere. You know, pretty happy with our business.
One player you wouldn't mind selling?
How long you got? Literally what I said in my head just now. I wouldn't mind selling Scott McTominay, but he's just so anonymous in most of the games he's in. He doesn't show for the ball. I think he's a bit of a, coward's a horrible word to use, but I just don't think he takes those situations well, like playing as a 6 with his back to goal and trying to go the other way. He's not that good at that. Whoa!
He's gone to Napoli, so
It's a
you
bit
got your
harsh,
wishes.
actually. Sorry, Scott. That is a bit harsh. But I think what I wanted is that we do need players with a certain sort of level of fight and level of courage about him. And Scott does have fight. It's just not in the area that we need him to have it. So it's not that he's a bad player, he's anything like that. But he's been there 20 odd years. So you have to respect what he's done for the club, and you have to respect kind of him as a man for what he's done, and especially during the tough times. But I think he had to go.
There's a few. Emerson Royale, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Giovanni Lo Celso. Again, I think we're quite, not overstayed their welcome at Tottenham, but now's the right time for them to move on. Well, I've gone from 0-3 to 3-3. I'll take that. Yeah, they all need to be move on. I think Spurs have got rid of pretty much all the deadwood in the squad now.
Thomas Partey. Don't need to go too deep into that one, but Thomas Partey. Who did we sell anyway? We got rid of, Eddie, Smith Rowe. We're good. I'm so content. I just can't stop smiling. I'm chill.
So I say Jack Grealish, because I feel like even though he's been instrumental in the treble season, I feel like it doesn't produce enough in terms of just raw numbers. And then the other one would be possibly Alvarez, not because I don't think he's a good player, but because I feel like you could get a very good fee for him. He's had the World Cup win, 5 trophies already.
I mean, Grealish still here.
I'll stick by it because I still do think, like, even he's played really well this season, to be fair to him. Like, but Alvarez going, didn't think it'd be for as much as well. I can't lie, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm not gonna.
I think players like Danny Ings, I don't know if he has a future at West Ham, but who knows, maybe Maxwell Cornet. I think the player that I like the most, but it's probably Flynn Downs, had a solid season at Southampton, and I know they want him.
Well, funny enough, as we left the room, he left officially. So happy the players that you've sold?
Yeah, well, Cornet's now gone out on loan as well. Danny Ings is still there. I think he's probably third choice to the club. He has a role there, he can play for the club this year. I just don't think he's ever going to be near the starting lineup. Flynn Downs, I wanted it to work out for him at West Ham. He's a West Ham fan, he's from the local area, but he didn't fit into Lopetegui's plans. They got value for Flynn Downs and it helped facilitate other moves.
I'm not going to be a fan favourite saying this, but one person I wouldn't mind selling is Darwin Núñez.
Ooh, he's had a good Copa America though.
He's had a decent Copa America. I think he's a very good player. I just don't know if he's a player that can allow us to win the league. I think he misses too many chances. Even though I don't rate him as highly as some other Liverpool fans, I do think he does get harshly criticised sometimes. But the way we're playing now, under Arne Slot, it doesn't seem like he'll fit the system very well. So it might be beneficial for his career and his progression to actually move on.
Who will have the best transfer window?
Not us. I'll tell you that. Because I feel like the reason I'm going to say his teams, because I feel like they need less to have a good window. So I'm going to say Arsenal, just because I feel like they only really need 1 or 2 players before you're like, okay, now this is probably the next team that are going to challenge for the next 3-4 years.
It's probably Arsenal, unfortunately.
Damn, does that one hurt?
A lot.
It hurts me to say the first one. I think Man United will. I think Villa's the one that people not really recognise. I think that one's going to be quite good. Listen, Emery's smart with his signings, we know that. So Villa for me, most definitely.
Genuinely, I think United are in the run-in to have the most transformative one. We've finally got the right structure. We're structuring deals in the right way, and we have so many changes to make. I think the biggest changes will be seen by United. Other than them, I'd probably say Villa.
As much as it pains me to say it, I like how Arsenal started their window with Calafiori if he does sign. I wouldn't be surprised if Aston Villa end up with the best window. I really like the Onana signing in terms of where they want to go, being in the Champions League.
As of the 16th of July, I would say Aston Villa probably have the best window so far. They're doing what they need to build a bigger squad and kind of compete in the Champions League.
Do you agree with what you said? Do you think Arsenal have had the best window?
They would have maybe wanted a better signing than Sterling. I definitely don't think he was like plan A, because it did kind of accelerate literally on deadline days.
Yeah, now it's close. Who do you think's had the best?
Best window? I'll probably say us, but only for the similar reasons where I'm like, we needed less for it to be good.
I know it's going to sound silly given how they started the season. I actually think Man United had the best transfer window.
Oh, really? A lot of people
do.
slating, but saying they might not fit, or maybe it's just because down to how they play. Or?
I think it's down to how they play. I think if a new manager were to go in there, I think he would get the best out of those players. And I think people would look back on that window and go, wow, that was an amazing window.
Do you still stick by that you think you and Villa potentially have the best now that it's done, or do you think someone else is?
Yeah, best is a bit difficult, only because Arsenal getting Sterling at the last minute I think it's actually a really strong signing for them. I think they needed someone like that to maybe get them over the line. The word I used there was transformative. I do think Man United have had the most transformative window. I'm going to stand by it. I'll stand by that.
Do you know what? I feel there's a bunch of teams that had a similar type of window. Fulham have done very well. I think Palace have had a good window. I think Spurs have also had a good window. I think people basing it on names, but if you look, Spurs now got younger players in the midfield, Bergvall, Archie Gray. Man United now looking at it, I still think they could have done a bit more.
Do you stick by that? Do you think Villa have had the best window out of everyone?
Not necessarily, no. I think they were proactive. I think they came in and got their business done early, which has obviously helped them with the Premier League season. We've seen how strong they've been. But on paper, I think West Ham have had a great window. I think Arsenal have had a great window on paper as well. Arsenal may tip it, if I'm honest, just over West Ham, because I feel like Arsenal have gone out and signed proven quality.
Do you think Aston Villa have had the best window of everyone?
I don't think they have. I think a lot of people, maybe including myself at that point, kind of got caught up in like the amount of players that they've signed. 3 of those players that they've signed have actually let go. In terms of who has probably won it, again, that's really hard to say. I really like what Brighton have done.
Which Premier League team will have an underwhelming transfer window?
We're in the middle of July and I haven't seen a player linked with Liverpool yet. And the only other news is Mo Salah had a hair transplant. I haven't seen anything else all summer.
Do you stand by that? Do you think they've had the most underwhelming?
If they manage to nail down Mo Salah for another couple of years, Chiesa could be an excellent understudy. I think they could have probably done more, but they don't need a lot. I think if we're looking at the Premier League as a whole in terms of the most underwhelming team, it's probably Newcastle, I'd say. Shearer described their window as a disgrace. And I think Eddie Howe himself has said that his team is probably weaker now than it was a year ago.
It could be us as well. Just because I don't think they need a lot of business, I'd probably say Arsenal. So far, Chelsea have been quite underwhelming. I think they'll do exactly the opposite of Arsenal and get too many and spend too much. Stand by it. Yeah, stand by it. I can't count how many players are in this.
Exactly what you said. Signed a lot of players.
I cannot count how many players they've got.
Now that everything's done, is there anyone else you think has had quite an underwhelming window?
City, I suppose.
Freddie said us, so let's go United.
United.
And there's no actual like justification. It's just I just don't like United. Yeah, we can leave that one there. I don't think any more needs to be said.
I think City, weirdly enough, I don't see what City are really going to add. It's underwhelming for us, but for Pep, it's like, I don't need to sign anyone. So it's a weird thing. But yeah, I can't really see them doing anything.
Yeah, so the only other player they added was Gundogan back on a free.
Yeah, and you know what? That changed the dynamic of it. I feel like, as an Arsenal fan, I have this strong belief we're going to win the league and whatever. Bringing back Gundogan, he's done it year in, year out. He's the clutch guy for them. And yeah, that signing just deflated me.
Out of the traditional top 6 clubs, who will make the worst transfers?
I think it might be Chelsea.
I think Chelsea.
It's hard to look past Chelsea.
Chelsea or United.
Chelsea.
This 15-year-old, if this 15-year-old doesn't work, we've got this 15-year-old.
It's like, you know, back in the day when you had career mode.
14 incomings, 18 departures. I think they've received the most money in the Premier League. I think they've spent the most in world football. I think they could finish 15th and finish 5th, and it wouldn't really surprise anyone.
Death row contracts, isn't it? It doesn't make sense. They didn't address centre back. For me, they didn't address left back, and they haven't addressed the striker issue, or goalkeeper. So there's no strategy behind it whatsoever.
They just remind me when you play Football Manager and you clear all your youngsters out your team, you just buy everyone. You know what I mean? I just feel like they don't have any idea of what they want. You know, we could look at Liverpool because they haven't really signed, but they've got a structure going. They've still got quality world-class players there. I feel like Chelsea I don't think they know what they're doing.
Do you agree with that, still Chelsea?
Yeah, Liverpool didn't do much, but I don't think they needed to. You know, they've had that structure. Why would you mess with it too much?
I like some of what they've done, but a large part of it is just a mess.
If you have a little brother, watch out. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Out of the top 6, who is the least attractive club to go to?
Spanner in the works. I'm going to say City. Every person alive knows that everything they've done is not right, illegal, immoral, whatever way you want to call it. I'm going to sound stupid and romantic. You don't get loved.
Well, do you stick by that? City are the least attractive?
That poor man in that video is clutching at straws, isn't he? Everything about them is plastic. You see with the fans, you see with everything. City's not real. They're just not real.
Man City. Every club has something behind them, a heritage, a history. Cool, City won a Champions League, but Pep's there, I get it. But once Pep goes, no player is wanted to go to Manchester City.
Stand by that?
100%. 100%. Because like we all know though, like having Pep there, they can get anyone they want. You can imagine when Pep does go, there's players that are currently there that will start to go, like, why am I here?
Has it got anything to do with the fact that they beat you to the league 2 years in a row?
No, you know what? I didn't mind last year's one because that can happen. But the 1 year before, because they just go on this annoying run, and it's a run that we all know happens. So yeah, just get rid of them.
He is a maniac, to be fair.
Send them to League 2 like Juventus got it in Serie A.
You've invited me here today. So I'm not going to give you an answer. You've been so nice to me today as well, really hospitable. I'm not going to give you an answer, brother. I just wanted to give you a little bit of banter. Just a little bit of banter. And I think I've been too like PC for the rest of the video, so I was like, let me just give you a little bit of banter. But it's probably United.
Again, I'd say Chelsea right now because again, I think if they'd kept Poch, I think they would have been one of the most attractive because how he works with young players, and you could definitely see that upward curve towards the end of last season. I'm not sure it's the most attractive club to go to right now, especially with the competition for places for young players as well, with the amount of kids that they've essentially stockpiled. I would probably change that maybe to Man United because I don't see how they progress from, obviously again we're filming this off the back of the game against Liverpool at the weekend, but I've not seen enough to suggest so far that Man United are going in any different direction to what they were last season.
Because I want to say Liverpool. That sounds crazy to me. Don't get me wrong, because Liverpool have been there or thereabouts for a few years right now, and rightfully so. They've got some of the best players in world football, but they're in that transition period and no one really knows what to expect. Joshua Zirkzee at Man United or Calafiori, who might be going to Arsenal and things like that, they're kind of players that you would assume, Liverpool might be looking at. And if you're those players, I don't know what you're thinking in the moment when you're looking at Liverpool, because they're not the Jurgen Klopp team anymore, and you don't even really know what they are.
3 games, 3 clean sheets, 3 wins.
Well, again, it's early doors for Liverpool. Liverpool started the season on fire, but it's not helped when your star player is saying on the weekend he might be leaving the club at the end of the year. So, but I stand by the comments that I said there. How often have we seen transition periods after a huge manager leaves? It is going to be a turbulent year for them in the fact that their 3 best players are still out of contract at the end of the year. So I don't know what to expect.
Honestly, it's between Chelsea and Spurs at the moment.
How dare you? Not invite back.
I was really scared to say because you're here, you're here.
Stand by what you say.
Are you going to hurt me after this?
Oh, I don't know. Man, back on maybe waiting outside. I can't tell you that.
I do, unfortunately. Yeah.
You can be honest.
I feel you didn't get a DM. I think Solanke is actually a really good signing, and I think you're still quite new in your project. I do rate Ange as a manager though, and Chelsea is rinse and repeat.
Do you think you'll be satisfied with the signings at the end of the summer?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's been a bit of impatience with Tottenham about not getting business done early, but I think some of our top targets have been away at the European Championships, etc. And I think Tottenham fans kind of have a bit of a tendency to be like, well, if we're not signing this kind of calibre player, it's a failure of a window. But I think we're still in the very early stages of Ange. And this window for me is about continuing to squad build in certain areas, but also we kind of need that sprinkling of quality, which I think I'm encouraged by with some of the names that we're linked to. So if we're able to bring in one of Eze or Neto or Desiree Doué or someone like that, then I'd be very happy.
Probably not, but that's because I'm a greedy fan and I want it all. If we win the league or we win the Champions League, then I'm going to look stupid, but I think it will leave us short.
To be fair, I guess yes, because Savio's already confirmed, and I actually am really excited about him. I've seen him for Girona. I was lying, by the way. I've only watched comps. I'll keep it 100. But the comps looked good, and he's looked good so far. But
Yes. And I haven't been able to say that for about 10 years. All in all, if we end up getting about 70% of our current targets, I'll be quite happy. And I think we're more than capable of doing that. And we did.
I mean, I'm satisfied now. Don't get me wrong, we still have things to address. I'm a West Ham fan. I have modest expectations for my football club. But under the David Moyes era, the one thing that we've always struggled with is the recruitment strategy. With our new kind of recruitment strategy at the club, it's doing bits, to be clear.
I want to say yes, but the issue with Arsenal, they always leave me with a what if. There's always one position where, like last season, I was very happy with the window, and then we signed Havertz. Thrown off the whole window with that sign because we signed Timber, we got Rice. I know the window's kind of moved slow, but I don't think we're moving fast enough at the moment. Yeah, I think I'll be calling the window 7 out of 10.
Okay, so window's finished. You've signed 3 players, I believe, well, 1 on loan being Sterling. Happy? Do you think it's a 7 out of 10? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I think the sign of Sterling has taken it to a 7. I think up until that, it literally with me was 4.5, 5. No, I'm happy. I'll stick with that, and the league is coming. See this? Yeah.
And future George, just edit that out. But would you say you're satisfied still, or?
Yeah, I would say I'm satisfied. I wouldn't say I'm over the moon with it. I think it's quite hard to be. But again, spoke about it earlier, I really like the signing of Solanke. I like the signing of Wilson-Odobert. I like the signings all individually. And again, I think some of the work that we've done towards getting rid of a lot of this deadwood in the squad has been really good. So in that area, I'm satisfied. I do think we've maybe left ourselves short in defence in terms of, obviously, Mickey van der Ven's missed the last game against Newcastle. He's missing this international break with Holland. So I think we've probably left ourselves short in that area, which could come back to bite us massively if Van der Ven's out for 2 or 3 months again like he was last year. But that doesn't mean I'm unhappy with it.
Now the window's finished, are you satisfied with West Ham's summer window?
Window's exceeded my expectations in every way possible. I was happy there. I'm now over the moon now,
Are you satisfied now that the window's over?
yeah, I mean, we've looked even better than I expected us to. No Rodri even to play yet. Foden's only played about 40 minutes. Haaland's looking even better than last year. I mean, he scored 38 last year, and everyone's like, that's a down year. He's on 7 already.
I've said this publicly, I've been slandered for it. I am going to say it again. All I wanted to see from this transfer window is a profile of player that I can get behind and that I understand where we're going. So now we do have to start seeing improvements from him on the pitch because we've got them now. But in context of what we could realistically fix in one window, that is a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 window for me. In context. Very key. In context. Don't edit this. In context, that is a 9 or 10 out of 10 window for Man United.
Are you satisfied now it's all done, or are you still left a bit of a hole?
I've been there before, bro.
Season veteran.
It's just another summer, innit? Like, I don't get how we've gone into the window and only had one target for defensive midfield when for the last 2 years before this summer just gone, we've tried to sign someone in that position, but not addressing the defensive midfield or centre-back situation, I think is criminal. And yeah, as much as we've started really well, as much as I rate Slot, I do think it leaves us short for this season.
All done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad you're
A solemn one to it.
Yeah, that was rough, man.